Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nikki, known here as the One-Handed Bandit here on YouTube. And if you are new to my channel, hello and welcome. I am happy to have you back. And if you are a new subscriber, hello to you as well. And as you can tell from the title of this video, I will be reviewing a palette that I recently purchased. And I wasn't too enthused about the palette, to be honest, but there was one shade that kind of caught my eye, and it was my sign, so I wanted to purchase it. And that is the Zodiac palette by Colourpop in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. Now this palette, I was kind of on the fence about it because I didn't think that the shades could create a cohesive look for a woman of color. These are the shades. So it has 12 shades, and this shade here is Pisces, and that is my sign, so that's the shade that everyone was pretty much excited about, and that was my sign, so I wanted to purchase the palette just for this shade. So you can see that you can't create a full look from this palette, so what I'll also be doing is going in with my Urban Decay Born to Run palette just to add some transition shades, and I'll probably be using that Pisces shades on my lid, but we'll see as we go. So I'm going in with a 504 brush from Morphe, and let's start with this first shade called Riff, this one right here. And this is more of a camel colored transition shade. And I've already primed my eyes with my Colourpop concealer in Dark 30. And I'm just going to add some shimmer to my brow bone. So I'm going to go back into the Zodiac palette, and I'm going to use this shade here called Gemini, and I'm just going to add that to my brow bone. That's a really nice pigmented shade. Going in with that same 504 brush, I'm going to go in with this purple shade called Sagittarius, this one. And I'm just going to add that just below this last shade that I added. Well, that has nice pigmentation, and it blends out really nicely. take another brush. This is the Morphe 505, and I'm going to go back in with that first shade, Riff, from the Born to Run palette. This shade, just to blend out the top portion of the purple. How these two shades blended together to each other. I'm just going to add a little bit more of the purple. Then go back in with the 505 brush again just to blend. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut my crease. And using the same Colourpop concealer, I'm almost out of it. Now that the crease is cut, I'm going to use my concealer brush that I always use to just to pat the concealer dry. Why I did a full cut crease was because I wanted to try to add a few more of those shades from the Zodiac palette. I only needed the Born to Run palette just to add a transition shade because there wasn't one in the Zodiac. Well, not deep enough for me. So I'm going to go in with I'm going to use the shade Capricorn, and that is this shade here, and I'm going to add that to the outer portion of my eye. This is like a black with some gold glitter in it. But it seems like it's showing up blue. I'm going to flip my brush over to the other side, and the next shade I'm going to use is Pisces, and that's the blue shade here. And I'm going to add that to the middle. So it's not as pigmented as I thought it was going to be. The swatches online looked much deeper than this. So I'm kind of disappointed because I really only bought it for this shade. I'll see if I can add some Fix Plus. Now I have a lot of product on the brush, and I'm just going to spray it. So the Fix Plus helped just a tiny bit. I saw Kathleen do a look with it the other day. I don't know how she was able to get that much pigmentation. Maybe because she's of a lighter skin tone. I'm not sure, but I did watch her video and she created a really pretty look, but I wanted the blue to be much deeper. Trying to blend the blue into the black. So I had to go off camera and really pack on that Pisces shade. I mean, I actually went in with a second brush just to add more product and to build it up, because it was just not giving me the pigmentation that I wanted. So now that I have it where I want it, I'm going to go in with this next shade. This one is called the Cancer. This shade here. And I'm going to add Cancer to the beginning of my cut crease. So this one seems to be even more pigmented than the blue shade. And I'm just going to blend those two together. And just to define my crease a little more, I'm going to go back in with that purple shade Sagittarius from the same palette, this one here. And I'm just using this small liner brush just to line my crease and get it defined a little more. Then I'm going to go back in with the 504 brush just to make sure that the purple is all blended, because as you can see, it's a little deep here. So now that the shades are all blended out, I think I have what I want on my lid. I kind of think that I should have used another look, but it is what it is. I wanted it to be more like ocean waves, you know, from the Cancer into the Pisces. I wanted to kind of look like an ocean. So I'm going to try to add some more blue. So that looked like it helped just a little bit. So I'm going to do wing liner and lashes, and I'm going to pop on some foundation, and I'll be back. So this is the final look of me using the Zodiac palette by Colourpop and Kathleen Lights. So I did have to go into a secondary palette, and this is one of the things that I am getting annoyed about by some palettes lately, and that's because if you are of a deeper skin tone, most of these palettes you would have to use another palette just to create a full look. So I had to use the Born to Run palette, and I did use the shade Riff, and that's this brown shade here. Now in the Zodiac palette, there was a shade in there. The most deepest shade was the purple, and that was the second color that I used. but I needed something to create a transition before I used the purple. So I had to go in with that Urban Decay palette. But the remainder of the shades, they did apply very nicely. And I was very excited about this shade here, Pisces, because Pisces is my sign. But as you can see, let me zoom in just a little bit. As you can see from this Pisces shade, I really had to dig into that shade to get pigmentation. And I had to dig in quite a bit just to get some pigment on my lid. The other shade that I used was this shade here, Cancer. That was the other shade that I used on the inner portion of my lid. And then on the outer V, I used this shade here called Capricorn. And this is a black shade that has some gold glitters in it. In my inner tear duct, I use this shade here called Leo, and I just pop that in the inner portion of my eye. And then on my bottom lash line, I also went in again with this shade here, this deep purple, that is called the Sagittarius. So I mean, it is I believe it was either $16 or $18. It's a cute palette, but it's not something that I would grab. It's not something that I would take with me on the go, because you cannot create a cohesive look with it. This is a palette that would accompany another palette if you're looking for some shimmers on your lids. And I do notice that nowadays a lot of palettes are just giving you shimmers and maybe 2 or 3 mattes. So if you're building your makeup collection and you just say, oh, I want to purchase the Zodiac palette, it's something good to have in your collection, but with creating a full look, it definitely won't do the job. So would I recommend this palette to women of color? Probably not, because I did have some trouble with that blue Pisces shade showing up on my lid. I really had to pack in that color. I did use a synthetic brush. I sprayed with Fix Plus, and it still didn't give me the pigmentation that I needed. I mean, I wanted it to be a little bolder than this, but do I like the look? Yeah, it's cute, but not something that I say, you know, whoa, that look is really nice. Yeah, I beat my face. And I also want to mention that I am not an MUA. I am not a makeup artist. I am just like you watching. I went on Colourpop's website. I purchased my own palette with my own money. And if this palette cannot create a look for a simple, everyday person, then the next person, you watching at home, you're not going to want to go and buy this palette if I'm myself struggling. And you see from my looks that I have created before that I can create a cohesive look from some palettes. Do I like this look? Is it passable? Yes, I would go out like this, but did it perform the way that I had expected it to do? No. So, I mean, I nothing against Kathleen or Colourpop, but I guess I was just expecting just a little bit more from this palette and from the swatches that I have seen on Instagram and also on their website. I thought that some of these colors would be more pigmented. I did love that purple shade, Sagittarius, there on the bottom, and it was a really nice shade. I haven't touched Aries, Taurus, Virgo, or Libra, as well as Scorpio. And I think Scorpio would be the next shade that I would probably use from this palette, because I do love purple and I love shimmers as well. From 1 to 5, I would probably give this palette a 3. And that's just my honest opinion. So that is my review, and just to go over the rest of my face, I used the Maybelline Better Skin Foundation. I went in with my Colourpop concealer in Dark 30. My highlighter is from Morphe in the shade Extra. On my lips, I have the MAC and Aaliyah collection Brooklyn Born, the lipstick. And for my liner, I use Colourpop's liner in Pinch. And I just added just a random clear lip gloss on top. So that is my final review on this Colourpop and Kathleen Lights Zodiac palette. I do appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. And you may want to catch that next video because I do have some tea to spill about some companies, so definitely check out my next video.